A mysterious traveler is visiting Bravta smugglers on his tree farm. He gives him a bag of money, and the man calls his nephew to prepare some. The man gives him a car key and tells him what is in the trunk. He suddenly starts to vomit blood and dies there. His nephew comes to check but is shot by the traveler. Then the traveler with the money burns the place down. Ethan Kopech lives with his pregnant girlfriend Nora. They start to get ready to go to work, and on the way, Nora tries to convince Ethan to reapply for the police academy. Nora is an airline operation manager, feels her husband does not like his job as a TSA agent. She asks him to think about it and leave. Ethan is late again for the briefing, where their boss Phil Sarkowski prepares them for Christmas Eve. Ethan is talking to his friend Jason, who gives him advice about being a father, as he has 3 children himself. Ethan, feeling the pressure of being a father, goes to his boss Phil and asks for a promotion, but the boss feels he is not up to the task and says that all the positions are filled, so Jason offers to give him his position, and Phil agrees. In the parking lot, a mysterious man parks his car with a person held hostage in it. He then starts a computer and connects with all the systems of the airport. Ethan sits at his desk in the baggage checking lane and starts working. The operation guy checks the visual of a man who invades Jason's house and waits for instruction, but the operation guy sees that Jason is not at the desk, so he asks the traveler for instructions as they start pulling all his information about Ethan. The traveler then decides to use Ethan as their pawn instead of Jason. Ethan starts to work when suddenly a woman gives him a lost earpiece. As Ethan goes to put it in Lost and Found, a message suddenly pops on his phone asking him to put on the earpiece. Ethan does so, and the traveler says he must follow his instructions and needs to let a bag pass. Ethan thinks it's a prank, but the traveler says things about his personal life, as one of their associates is already at his house searching for information to use against him. The associate finds out about Nora, and she is pregnant. Ethan tries to call 911, but the guy is watching everything from CCTV. The traveler tells him to end the call or Nora will die. Ethan cuts the call, and the traveler asks him to put the phone in Lost and Found. He is now super tensed, so the traveler starts to talk to him to calm him down, so that he does not attract suspicion. He obliges and starts to talk about his girlfriend. He tries to put through a message from his smartwatch, but the operation guy informs the traveler. He asks Ethan to cancel the call and put that also in Lost and Found. Ethan figures out that they are watching him through CCTV. The traveler now threatens that if Abel does something like this again, there will be consequences, and all he has to do is let the bag pass. Elsewhere, a detective is on the crime scene, where the Bravda member was burned down. She finds a secret bug inside the watch of the guy. She gives the bug to one of her assistants to retrieve whatever data he can. However, he is only able to retrieve some distorted voices from the device. Ethan is working and talking to the guy and trying to find out where he is by the background noises. He finds the suspect is eating chips. He stops the lane and asks for a bag check, and with the help of invisible ink, he writes something on the boarding pass and gives it to one of the officers. He reads the message and goes to check. He suddenly gets hit by someone and a few minutes later falls on the ground. The traveler takes out the boarding pass by pretending to help and leaves. Everyone gathers there, but the guy is already dead, and the traveler tells him that it's all his fault. Ethan is in shock, sitting at a waiting desk, when the traveler comes and starts to talk to him. He says the officer died because of him and also shows him the boarding pass. The traveler orders him to follow instructions or Nora dies. He goes back to his desk, but Jason is working there and says the boss has reassigned him. He goes to the boss, but he says that he is on metal detector duty. The traveler warns that he must be on the desk or his girlfriend dies. Ethan goes to the back office and sneaks some whiskey and spikes a coffee with it. He goes to Jason and asks for his mobile, saying he put it in the drawer. He then exchanges the coffee when Jason is not looking. He goes back to work. The traveler understands what he is doing and goes to Phil and complains about Jason. Phil goes to check and finds alcohol in his coffee and dismisses him. He reassigns Ethan on the desk. After he goes to the desk, the traveler tells him that a man will come with a red hat and a black suitcase with a red ribbon tied to it. Ethan needs to let him pass. The detective is working with the distorted voice when she finds the word Novichok. She searches it and finds Novik is a dangerous nerve gas that can kill people instantly. Russian spies are infamous for using the gas. The suitcase with a red ribbon is passing from the scanner. The scanner shows danger signs of unidentified liquid inside the bag. He wants to stop it, but knowing the danger, he lets it go. Sick to his stomach, he goes to the toilet and starts to throw up. The traveler comes there with a gun and tells him that the hard part is over, but he must act normal until his guy is on the plane. Ethan asks about his identity and what's in the bag. He says that it has a poisonous gas that will leak and kill 250 people inside the plane to send the government a message. But he asks Ethan not to get entangled in that and just do as he is told. Ethan goes on a lunch break with Nora. They are talking while the traveler is advising him to keep it normal. He says that he has asked for a promotion, but Nora feels that he must go to the police academy again. He snaps at her and she leaves. The detective is following up on the Novichok information. A Homeland agent has come to check but feels that it is a very weak lead. The technician comes and informs the detective that a 911 call was made by a TSA agent, Ethan Kopech, and after that, the phone switches switched off. The detective decides to follow the agent and also decides to go with her. They also inform the airport about possible danger. TSA starts to do a random check for all the passengers. Phil calls all his agents and gives them a list of random people they must check. Ethan sneaks into Phil's device, unlocks it, and puts the name of the guy with the red hat, Mateo. The traveler asks him about why Mateo was pulled over, but he says that it is a lottery check and he can't do anything about it. Ethan now decides to take matters into his own hands, takes out the earpiece, and runs toward Nora. The traveler instructs the operations guy to do something, and he starts the van. Ethan goes to Nora and asks her to get out with him, but Nora is angry and asks if he has anything to do with Jason getting fired. He is about to tell her everything but sees a sniper dot on Nora and sees the van with a sniper on it. He puts back the earpiece. The traveler asks him to shut up or Nora dies. He does so and leaves Nora there. He goes to the bathroom and the traveler comes there and starts to beat him. Ethan tries to fight back, but the traveler puts him in the chokehold. He reaches for the traveler's gun and grabs it. He then threatens him and asks him to call his guy and order him to leave Nora. He brings out his phone to call, but he activates the timer of the bomb. He shows it to Ethan and says that in 10 minutes, the gas will leak and kill everyone in the airport. Ethan asks him to shut it down, but he says it can only be done manually and asks Ethan to do it if he wants to save everyone. He asks him to put on the earpiece and he will guide him through it. Ethan runs with the gun to the interrogation room where Phil is checking Mateo's bag. Ethan goes there, and the traveler asks him to shoot Phil, or everyone will be dead. Ethan points the gun at his boss and asks him to go away, but Phil is surprised and says he needs to calm down. Suddenly, Mateo takes a pen and jabs it in Phil's throat. He starts to bleed and dies. Ethan, angry, attacks Mateo, but he says that he has to do this, or his husband will die. Ethan sees that the guy has an earpiece and figures that he is also a victim. The traveler instructs him to open the suitcase and put it in manual mode. He does so. With his instruction, he finds a button to push, which stops the timer. While he tries to do that, another agent knocks on the door. Mateo picks up the gun to kill him, but Ethan says that he has a plan. With the help of the pen, he pushes the button seconds away from detonating, while Mateo clears the dead body. Ethan lets the agent in and says Phil is busy, so he is interrogating Mateo. The detective is in the car while the agent Alcott is driving. Her associate calls her to say that there was an incident of an officer dying, and forensics found some foul play. They are now making a list of flights where high-value targets are traveling. Homeland is also sending an agent, Alcott, to assist her. The detective understands that the man driving is an imposter. She hangs up, takes out her gun, and points toward the imposter, but the imposter speeds up, resulting in the crash of the car. Imposter tries to choke the detective, but she shoots him. She gets out of the car, takes a civilian's car, and goes toward the airport. At the airport, Mateo and Ethan with the suitcase go toward the baggage handler system to put the suitcase on the plane. The traveler secretly instructs Mateo to kill Ethan. As he is about to shoot him, he sees this in the mirror and ducks. They have a cat-and-mouse chase there, and the guy starts to shoot, but the gun gets heated and bursts, killing Mateo. He takes his mobile and tries to call Nora, but she is busy, so he messages another agent and asks him to take Nora with him to the police, as a terrorist is trying to kill Nora with a white van. The traveler now is behind Ethan and asks him to hand over the suitcase, but Ethan flees with it. The traveler orders the operation guy to kill Nora. The operation guy goes to kill her, but the agent has already informed Nora. They recognize the operation guy from the van and start to run. The agent tries to stop him, but the guy stabs him. The traveler finds the suitcase with the help of a tracker, but Ethan has already exchanged the suitcase with a bigger box. The detective enters the airport and asks an agent for Ethan. Someone from Rado says he saw Ethan in the baggage handling section. The detectives go there and find Mateo's dead body. They alert everyone. The detective finds Ethan and asks him to tell her everything first, but Ethan says that he must go or his girlfriend will die. The detective tries to arrest him, so he hits her and pushes her. But before leaving, he gives her all the necessary information so she can take necessary action. The operation guy is hunting Nora, but Nora injures him and runs away. The guy now with the van goes behind Nora, but crushes with another car. By the impact, the hostage guy manages to free himself. The guy gets out and is about to shoot Nora when Ethan comes and covers her. He is about to shoot them, but he gets shot instead. The prisoner is withholding the sniper and asks if his husband is okay. Ethan figures that it's Mateo's husband and tells him that he is dead. The traveler is sitting in the chair, watching the news, when a girl comes and exchanges her bag with his. He now starts to board the plane, where a congresswoman is also boarding, who is shown on the news earlier. The detective deduces that the traveler's target is Congresswoman Grace Turner, whose death could be blamed on Russia, ensuring passage of a bill that would prove lucrative for defense contractors. Nora and Ethan again enter the airport, and Ethan asks her to search for the bag which he exchanged. She searches and finds the plane. Ethan decides to disarm the weapon himself, as he already knows how to do it. He asks Nora to go to the detective and asks her not to stop the plane from taking off. On the flight, the traveler fails to fit the bag in the cabinet and wonders how that happened, as he measured it it himself. The air hostess comes and says he needs to put it into the cabin as it's already marked for the cabin. He figures that Ethan exchanged his bag. Nora goes to the detective and asks her not to stop the flight from boarding as it will warn the traveler and he can activate the bomb. She says that Ethan will disarm the bomb. The detective is apprehensive, but she takes a chance and clears the flight for departure. Ethan is able to board the plane by a baggage car before the plane takes off. He takes the bag and puts the bomb in manual mode. The traveler's phone shows warning signs. Traveler sneaks into the cargo cell. Ethan tries to hide seeing him, but he shoots him. The pilot sees some hazards in the cargo and decides to land back at the airport. Injured, Ethan hides. Traveler comes and finds the suitcase inside a dispenser freezer. He takes out the bag and opens it to activate the bomb, but finds the liquid chamber is missing. Suddenly, Ethan pushes him inside the freezer, throws the liquid, and locks the door. The gas starts to leak, and he starts to beg Ethan to open the door, but he does not, and soon the traveler dies. The plane lands back, and the detective orders the officer to take him to the doctor. Nora comes there, and they rejoice. After 1 year, they visit the same airport to go on a holiday with their daughter. Jason's family also joins them. Also, Ethan is now a cop. So this was the recap of the 2024 movie Carry On. Please subscribe to the channel for more movies like this. If you like this, you may also like this.